Welcome back to Retirement Today. Your co-host here, Jonathan Berkland, and with me in the studio, Michael Reese, and we're having a great time today, aren't we, Mike?
Oh yeah, and this is going to be my favorite episode.
I know, we have a lot of fun in this segment. I'll let Mike introduce it, but we kind of just wait in anticipation through the break to get here, just all throughout the day, right?
That's right. So today, as we do every week on the show, it is time for my favorite segment, and that is where I get to be king for a day. So in this segment, this is where I get to pretend that I'm king, and I get to make a couple of laws, maybe one law or two laws, that I think are appropriate for the world that we live in. Right?
That's it.
As simple as that. So I have two laws today.
Two, okay.
You ready for this?
Love it. Love to hear it.
All right. Law number one. Yes, drum roll,
please.
In recent news, we have learned that our government has decided that it needs to hire 87,000 more IRS employees.
That's just a few. I mean, not a big deal, right?
Well, they need to chase after the rich is
Yes.
what they're supposed to do. Now, it turns out in this country we have, do you know how many billionaires we have?
I have no idea. Honestly.
Like 700 and some.
Okay, yeah, it can't be that many, right?
So that's not, 87,000 is a bigger number than that. So I'm assuming that those 87,000 are probably going to be chasing after people and basically annoying people and pestering people who are not billionaires.
I
Right?
think that's a safe assumption. Yes.
So here's the thing. I remember when I was in high school, in fact, even in middle school, we studied the American Revolution. And do you remember what sparked the American Revolution?
Oh boy, you're putting me on the spot here. American history.
Yeah, remember in Boston there was a little party?
The Tea Party.
There was a tea party.
Yes, yes.
And what was the underlying reason for that tea party?
They were upset.
They were mad because
At the tax on the tea, right?
yeah, because the British
From the
government,
British, yes.
the King of England or whoever,
Right.
the English government
King
wanted to
George,
tax
I think,
them
right?
more. Yeah, so they applied some kind of a stamp tax on the tea or some goofy
Yeah.
thing,
I
right?
remember Stamp Tax Act. I think was a thing.
And finally, they said, "That's it, enough. We're out of here."
Yeah.
What if I'm king for a day? I'm like the first time doing. I'm like getting rid of these 87,000 new hires.
Just,
Like as if our government
Hi,
isn't
goodbye.
spending enough money.
yes.
What they now want to do is they essentially want to turn the IRS into a very confrontational role with us. It's like they just want to audit the heck out of everybody. And it's kind of like this. I run a business, right? So I got a notice from my CPA saying, "Hey, Mike, just so you know, with them hiring all these people, you can basically assume that you now have to have a receipt for every little purchase, and if you don't, they're not going to let you deduct it. Like your credit card receipt, I spent, hey, I have a credit card receipt at Office Depot.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I bought stuff for the office. I was at Office Depot. Well, now I need a receipt to prove that everything was used at the office. It's like, what an accounting nightmare.
Yeah.
Do you know how many monthly charges I have on my credit card statement?
Exactly.
Like 300.
Yeah. And maybe you get an email invite. Maybe where do those go?
So now I need to
Track of all of them?
and now basically I need to keep track of 300 lousy receipts just in case I'm audited from one of these 87,000 yahoos that the government thinks they need to pay an income to. And and by the way, we're not in debt enough apparently, right?
Yeah. Need some more, yes.
Oh my God. So I think if I were in charge, first I would say is you can't hire these people. But I think I've got a better law, in
Okay.
fact, because this whole thing's got me going crazy about our government just having the fiscal responsibility of a 3-year-old, right?
Yes.
And I'm not sure they're that good. Like our government, when it comes to fiscal responsibility, they're a bunch of doddering idiots. So Warren Buffett has a solution to this. He simply says this. He says, look, if you can't actually balance the budget each year, if you can't actually limit your spending to what you've got coming in each year, then you are immediately not eligible for re-election.
Ooh.
So I like that idea. It's like, hey, government, since you have zero fiscal responsibility because you are fiscal idiots, right? It's amazing. If you tell them you must balance a budget or you can't be reelected,
yeah,
I bet it's amazing how quickly they'll suddenly learn to have fiscal responsibility.
Reaching across the aisle to shake hands on this.
They'll suddenly be best buds.
Yes. Yeah.
So my law is this. Dear government, if you cannot balance a budget, then you are not eligible for re-election. That's my law. How do you feel about that?
I like it, and I think that would get the support of most Americans, honestly.
Think?
I really do.
I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer, right?
I mean,
because these people in D.C. have to be held accountable because I swear to goodness, like, they are, when I say they are less than pond scum, that's not all of them. I mean, it's not all of them, but it's the overwhelming majority. They are just, I mean, there's a reason that the American people view used car salespeople at a higher level of integrity than our government.
Yeah.
So, all right, so enough of that one. All right, here's my next one.
Okay, let's hear it.
This is going to be a Facebook law.
Ooh, Mike loves Facebook, by the way.
I do. I spend time on Facebook. I am sick and tired of people on both sides of positions spreading, like they hear some content, they come across some content, they don't know if it's true or not, but it sounds good to them and it fits with their self-image, and they immediately spread it out there to the rest of the world.
Catchy headline, the whole thing. Right?
Yeah. And so the soundbite world, it's like, and I'm just, you know what, I just hate all this disinformation. I'm a big believer of free speech.
Yeah, definitely.
Big believer of free speech. What I think, though, should be a rule or a law is that before spreading some factoid that you find on Facebook, like before you spread it, you first have to actually Google to see if it's legitimate.
Do a little research.
And don't have to do a lot of research. Not a lot. Very minimal research. Just type the factoid in Google and see what you get. And very quickly you find out if it's legitimate or not. Right? It doesn't take a lot, but it takes like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how many times, I mean, I came across, and it's not, by the way, it's not people who are Republican, it's not people who are Democrats, it's everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody does this. They're just being lazy.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. Stop to think for a minute. Right?
Yeah.
That's basically it.
Just being lazy. Gosh darn it. If you're going to spread a factoid, and by the way, mea culpa, I'm sure I'm guilty of this as well. I'm sure I've done this myself. So, but anyway, this weekend I kind of came to the conclusion that I need to be better. I need to make sure that I'm not the person spreading these factoids, I'll call them, without just first double checking that they're a legitimate, that it's legitimate.
Yeah, I like that.
So, my law, because otherwise, you know what happens? You get all these people spreading all this disinformation, then you get people arguing back and forth, and they're arguing about stuff that isn't even true.
Yes.
Right? It's like,
yes.
Come on, let's grow up. We're not in middle school anymore. So my law today is that, my idea is that you say, all right, before you spread out a factoid on Facebook, or any other, there's other social media.
Into the ether.
Which I'm not LinkedIn, and I kind of know what that is. TikTok, I have no clue how that works.
Yeah.
There's all these other ones, right? But any social media, before you spread a factoid on social media, my law is you must first spend the 30 seconds required to Google the factoid to make sure that it's legitimately accurate or reasonably accurate, right, as well as you can tell. And it's not just pure balderdash. We'll call it the balderdash law.
That's a great name.
How do you feel about that?
I think that's a fantastic idea. I don't know that you would get a ton of support because people feel strongly about whatever it is, but I think if you could get people to step back and just think for a minute.
not even thinking, just Google it.
Yeah, set opinions and emotions aside for just a moment and just think through it.
Yeah, just Google it and just say, hey, is this real or not?
I would love it.
I mean, especially when it's inflammatory.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
I mean, if it's an opinion of, that Mike Reese on the radio, he's a dolt. He's just a big old blooming idiot. That's okay. I mean, there's probably times that's very true.
We'll accept the criticism.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about things, like these crazy things you see out there. Let's just verify it all, okay? All right. With that, I've gotten 2 laws. I've got the government has to balance a budget, or they can't stand for re-election.
Yep.
And before posting an inflammatory factoid on Facebook or other social media, you must Google it.
The Balderdash.
Are we good with all that?
Good. Let's do it.
All right. They are now law. That's so much fun with that. All right, gang. Listen, if you're sitting there, you're like, hey, I need help with my retirement planning.
Yeah, right.
Right? I know this has nothing to do with retirement planning, but if you need help with a retirement plan, make sure you give us a call. We're here to help. It's free to talk to us. Why not set up a quick 15-minute phone call? 512-886-5850. Again, that's 512-886-5850. All right, don't go anywhere. When we come back, I'm going to have some interesting reasons why you should or should not take Social Security early. We'll be right back.